Discover the shocking truth: my daughter chose life without a mother over losing her husband. Sarah stood at the kitchen sink, hands submerged in soapy water, her mind racing with the weight of the world. The sun shone through the window, casting a warm glow on the faded photographs that adorned the walls, each capturing a moment when laughter echoed through their once happy home. Just 6 months ago, her husband, a brave veteran, had filled their life with love. Now, his absence loomed like a dark shadow. Every waking moment, Sarah worked 2 jobs, determined to create stability for her spirited daughter, Emma. But the news from the doctor had shattered everything: terminal cancer. Those 2 words echoed louder than any laughter ever could. Emma, bright-eyed and fiery, sought solace in her friends. When whispers began to swirl around town, judging her for aligning with a wealthy classmate, their fragile bond strained. Laughter faded into silence, conversation turned into tension. How could a teenage girl process the idea of losing both her mother and the life they had? One evening, as Sarah sat on the living room couch, she gazed at Emma, her heart heavy. "You're spending all this time with Chase," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "What about us? What about me?" Emma, eyes flashing with defiance, hissed back, "You can't expect me to stay here and watch you sink. I have my life too." The room crackled with pain, cutting deeper than any blade. They confronted each other, each clash of words feeling like a punch to the stomach. Embers of misunderstanding ignited into a raging fire, each woman feeling abandoned by the other, yet desperate for connection. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Sarah stumbled into her bedroom, tears spilling down her cheeks. The pain was physical now, a tight fist around her heart. Meanwhile, Emma, battered by guilt and confusion, searched for answers in the dark corners of her room. When she found an old, forgotten letter hidden in a drawer, curiosity compelled her to unfold the crinkled paper. It carried words from a great aunt she had never met, recounting carefree moments and endless laughter, reminders of family joy that life had buried under grief. Just as the promise of healing began to whisper between them, they were thrust back into turmoil. The small-town community buzzed with judgment, pinning their struggles under a microscope. Could love transcend the weight of external pressures? With fragile hearts hanging in the balance, Emma and Sarah faced an uncertain future. Would they find a thread of understanding that could bind their rift? Or would the chasm continue widening, threatening the last remnants of their family? The clock ticked ominously, urging them toward a choice. The following morning, Sarah woke to find the house steeped in silence, an all too familiar friend. The weight of the previous night hangover lingered in the air. She stepped into the hallway, her feet cold against the wooden floor, and made her way to Emma's room. The door was slightly open, a sliver of light cutting through the darkness within. "Emma?" she called softly, her voice a fragile whisper. No response. Pushing the door open, Sarah found her daughter curled in a tight ball under her blanket. A tangle of hair obscured Emma's face, and for a moment, Sarah hesitated, remembering the innocent child who used to wake up with the sun, excited for another day of school. With careful movements, she approached the bed, her heart aching. "Honey, it's time to get up." Emma stirred but didn't open her eyes. "I don't feel well," she mumbled, her voice muffled. "Or maybe you just don't want to face today." Sarah sat gently on the edge of the bed, hoping to breach the walls that had grown so high between them. The words hung in the air, heavy and true. Finally, Emma shifted, and their eyes met. The storm within her was evident as anger and sadness collided. "What's the point?" she breathed, tears welling again. "I don't want to deal with any of this anymore." Sarah's own eyes glistened with unshed tears, but she wouldn't back down. "You're not alone in this. I need you, Emma." The edge of Emma's blanket dropped, revealing her flushed cheeks. It doesn't feel like it. You've pushed me away, she shot back, her words stinging like a slap. I don't want to watch you suffer. I shouldn't have to. I'm not asking you to carry my pain, Sarah sighed, feeling the crushing weight of helplessness. I'm just asking for your love. I need to know we're not losing each other too. Silence engulfed them, a thick, suffocating cloud that hung heavily in the corner of the room. Emma closed her eyes again, shoulders trembling. Sarah reached out, gently brushing her hair back. Can we try? Just a chance to be open with each other? Emma shifted again, her brow furrowing with uncertainty. Just then, a sudden vibration erupted from her phone on the nightstand. Emma reached for it, glancing at the screen. A text from Chase lit up the darkness, bright and insistent. Sarah's heart sank, shifting quickly to jealousy and fear, knitting tight in her chest. Is he coming over? Emma hesitated but nodded. We're meeting at the park later. And what if he's part of the problem? Sarah pressed, unease bubbling to the surface. You've been spending so much time with him, forgetting Mom. Stop. I don't want to fight. Emma exploded, a fresh wave of hurt in her voice. Just because you're not okay doesn't mean I can't be. Can't you see that? With a pained expression, Sarah fell silent. It was easier to battle the world than to fight with the one person who mattered most. I just don't want to lose you, Emma. I'm scared. In that moment, something shifted. Emma's eyes softened, the anger giving way to a hesitant understanding. They were both scared and lost in this harsh new reality, navigating a storm that seemed relentless. Before either could say anything else, a drop of rain began tapping against the window. Outside, the clouds gathered, mirroring the tension in their home. The distant roll of thunder rumbled across the sky, prompting a heavy sigh from both. Maybe we could go for a walk later? You and me, just to talk? Emma studied her mother, who looked years older than the woman she remembered. One thought flashed in her mind, but what if talking just digs us deeper into the hurt? I'll give you time, Sarah replied, sensing Emma's hesitation. But promise me, if Chase becomes more important than us, we'll talk about that, too. In a world full of uncertainty, they were both left grappling with their choices. Would they be brave enough to confront their intertwined fears? Outside, the rain began to fall heavier, droplets racing down the glass, as inside, two women stood at a crossroads, their future silently waiting. The rain continued to pelt against the window, creating a rhythmic beat that matched the unease pounding in Sarah's chest. She watched the droplets race downward, wishing she could slip through the glass and escape the painful weight of the morning. Emma's silence felt monumental, as if they were suspended in time, crossing an invisible bridge between childhood and a reality that loomed dark ahead. Do you want to talk about Chase? Sarah tried again, her voice steadying. I mean, it might help. Emma's eyes flickered to meet hers, and for a brief instant, the vulnerability was clear. He makes me feel free. I don't deal with all this family stuff when I'm with him. With each word, Sarah felt a tightening in her gut. But at what cost, Emma? Sometimes, running away doesn't help. It only hides the truth. Emma's brows knitted together. You don't understand. You're caught up in your own problems. Sometimes I just want to forget and he helps me do that. How does he help you forget? It was the wrong question. Sarah recognized that the moment it left her mouth. By being someone else. Someone who doesn't constantly remind me of what's wrong. I don't want to think about your pain or the mess we're in. Emma's voice rose, rebellious and raw. Can't you let me choose my own way? Why does every choice seem to push us further apart? Sarah whispered, the edge of desperation creeping in. Her heart raced as she realized they were skirting around the real issue. I want to be here for you, but it's like you're building walls. I just wish you'd let me in. Tears streamed down Emma's cheeks. What if this is just how I cope? And it's easier without having to worry about you all the time? The raw truth of Emma's words cut deep. It also forced Sarah to grapple with her overwhelming need to protect her daughter even from herself. Don't you want to feel supported? Together? Isn't that better than someone who might not stick around? Another bolt of thunder rolled outside, rattling the windows and echoing the heaviness in the atmosphere. Emma's posture softened slightly, her fists released the blanket's taut grip. I don't know, Mom, I just feel so lost. Then let us be lost together, Sarah offered, her voice a gentle plea. You can tell me about Chase, and we'll face whatever these feelings are. You don't have to hide. Emma shrugged, the weight of her indecision evident. I just don't know how. In the lull that followed, Sarah sensed the storm of emotion swirling between them. She reached toward Emma, holding her breath. Maybe we start small. Just a mention of how you feel when you're with him, maybe? A cautious nod from Emma sparked a glimmer of hope. I guess, he makes me feel special, like I matter. When I'm with him, I forget I'm not just your daughter or desperately trying to be the perfect version of myself. The admission hung in the air, fragile yet robust. It was a revelation that resonated deeply, lighting a path towards connection that had felt so dim only moments ago. They were both unsure, but perhaps that very uncertainty could forge a new bond. The sudden ring of Emma's phone interrupted, breaking the moment. It was Chase, and her heart fluttered with a mix of excitement and dread. I should answer no, Sarah interjected quickly. Just 5 more minutes. Let us embrace this moment. Let us be honest. Emma hesitated, glancing down at her phone, the buzzing feeling like an anchor. Sarah could almost see the conflict playing out on her daughter's face, loyalty to him versus the honesty they desperately needed. Okay, Emma inhaled sharply, her voice steadier. Just, don't push me too hard. In that sacred vulnerability, hope flickered again. Outside, the rain dwindled to a soft drizzle, a whisper of renewal. But inside, as they unveiled their hearts, a storm was brewing, one that was profound and inevitable. What new truths would emerge from their conversation? Would they uncover fears buried deeper than either could have imagined? The clock ticked softly, and the journey they were about to embark on might just change everything. Emma hesitated, her finger hovering over the screen of her phone. Sarah watched the turmoil unfold across her daughter's face, the struggle between the pull of Chase and the fragile connection they were trying to mend. I don't want to disappoint you, Emma finally admitted, her voice trembling. The words were like a feather landing in a churning sea. But when I'm with him, it just feels easy. That's okay, Sarah reassured her. You don't have to carry all of this on your own. I want to understand, but you need to share the weight with me, too. Emma pressed her lips together, the tension palpable in the air. What if it doesn't change anything? What if you just end up being disappointed? A wave of sadness washed over Sarah. I can handle disappointment, Emma. But I can't handle being on the outside of your life. You're my daughter, and I love you no matter what choices you make. You can talk to me. The sincerity in Sarah's voice seemed to create a small crack in Emma's walls. I just feel like you have this idea of who I should be, she confessed. Like, the perfect daughter. And I'm just not that. Believe me, my idea of you is not a perfect daughter, Sarah replied, a hint of laughter shining through the tension. Perfection doesn't exist. I just want you to be happy. Whatever that looks like for you. Emma blinked, taken aback. But happiness is so complicated, Mom. It feels like chasing shadows sometimes. Maybe it is complicated. But we're in this together, right? Just like you said, let us be lost together. Sarah couldn't help but lean in, desperate to bridge the gap they had been dancing around for so long. Emma finally let out a deep breath, the release of tension visible as she leaned slightly back against the couch. I guess Chase makes me feel like I don't have to overthink it. With him, I feel like I can be myself without all the baggage. Maybe that's a starting point, Sarah encouraged gently. But being yourself doesn't mean you have to lose who you really are. You're still Emma, no matter who you're with. The rain slowed outside, the gentle patter now a soothing backdrop. Emma's phone buzzed again, but this time she didn't rush to answer. Instead, she stared at it, lost in thought. Her eyes flickered to her mother's, searching for a sign, an invitation to dig deeper. What if being with him is me trying to escape from everything? From you, from the house, from Dad. Her voice trailed off, a hint of fear creeping in. That's okay, Sarah said softly. We all want to escape sometimes. But running won't help you grow. It won't help heal what's broken. What if I end up hurting you even more? Emma whispered, the reality of their situation crashing down around them. Talk to me, Emma. If you're worried about hurting me, the best way to avoid that is to be honest. I want to hear everything, even if it's hard. Let us not hide, Sarah replied, her voice warm and inviting. Emma's phone buzzed again, this time practically vibrating off the table. She stared at it, glancing from the screen to her mom, panic etched across her features. As thunder rumbled faintly in the distance, the tension coiling up inside her tightened. What if he's waiting? What if I go back to being who I was before? Then let us talk about it. Don't rush this. You deserve clarity, Emma. In that moment, Emma felt the weight of her decisions pressing down, the tug-of-war between belonging and independence surfacing like an uninvited guest. Okay, her hand lingered near her phone, but her eyes stayed locked onto her mother's. I need to think about it. About us. For a fleeting moment, the doorway of understanding swung wide open, but then the shadows loomed heavy again. What would Emma decide next? Would she step into the light or retreat back into the dark? The clock ticked on as they both wrestled with the gravity of choices yet to come. The room seemed to pulse with unspoken words as Emma leaned back, the weight of what lay ahead settling like an unwelcome guest. Sarah could sense the storm still brewing inside her daughter, the emotion swirling with fierce intensity. The silence stretched between them, thick and charged. Mom, what if I lose myself? Emma spoke softly, almost as if afraid that uttering the words would make them real. I don't want to disappear into this relationship with Chase. Losing yourself feels terrifying, Sarah admitted. But that's not who you are. You've always been so much more than who you're with. You have a voice. You have dreams, desires. She paused, trying to find the right words. Chase shouldn't become your world. You should still be you. How do you feel about all of this? Emma's brow furrowed, the flicker of doubt dancing in her eyes. I don't know if I even know who that is anymore. It's like I'm balancing on a tightrope, and one slip could send me crashing. Then let me help you find that balance, Sarah said earnestly. Then maybe together, we can make sense of this. Gathering strength from her mother's unwavering support, Emma let out a small nod as she glanced toward the window. Outside, the rain had stopped, but the clouds hung low, heavy with unexpressed thoughts. She felt a longing to reach out to Chase, to handle his love for her like a delicate piece of art. But would it be worth the price? The phone buzzed again with a new urgency, but Emma didn't reach for it. Something inside her shifted, a realization chirping softly in the corners of her mind. What if I want to talk to him right now? What if he's the one that makes me feel alive? I get that, Sarah replied, the intensity of her gaze unwavering. But just ensure that it's your choice. That you're pulling him into your life rather than abandoning your own for him. You deserve the freedom to choose, not just flee. Frustration bubbled up in Emma. But isn't happiness about doing what you want? What if being with him is what I want? Wanting is important, but it can't come at the cost of losing who you are, Sarah explained, her voice warm but firm. What if there's a way to have both? To be the person you are and the person who loves, instead of just being one or the other? Emma closed her eyes, envisioning a path where she could merge the two halves of her world. It felt hopeful but precarious. I know I need to decide, but it's just hard. We've always faced hard things together, Sarah reminded her gently, crossing the space between them and taking her hands. Remember, love is not about losing yourself. It's about showing up with all your parts, your flaws, your fears, your true self. Emma opened her eyes, searching her mother's face for the truth that seemed to simmer just beneath the surface. She felt a mixture of comfort and frustration. Would Chase understand that part of her? Would he stay for the messy bits that came with loving her? The phone buzzed yet again, and Emma stared at it, the weight of her decision almost suffocating. What if I don't know how to talk to him? What if I ruin everything? Then you learn from it, Sarah replied, squeezing Emma's hands reassuringly. Don't let fear dictate your choices. That leads to regret. A deep breath filled Emma's lungs, the knot in her stomach still tight but loosening as her thoughts began to crystallize. She wasn't just Emma when she was with Chase. She was so much more. But stepping into that version of herself required courage. And suddenly, with a thunderous crash outside, the truth hit her again. She didn't have to chase anyone to find herself. The decision was hers to make. Okay, Emma said, her voice steadier now. I think I know what I want. As she looked down at her phone, anticipation danced with trepidation in her heart. What would she say, and how would Chase respond? But more than that, what if navigating this love led to something even greater, a discovery of herself? The thunder rolled again in the distance, echoing the weight of her next steps. What if this was just the beginning of something transformative? Emma's fingers hovered over the keys, a mixture of excitement and dread tightening her chest. She could feel the thump-thump of her heart echoing in her ears as she took a deep breath. This moment was hers, and she didn't want to rush it. She wanted to be deliberate, authentic, and brave. She let the hum of anticipation wash over her, letting the stillness in the room draw her focus inward. What would she say? How could she express the whirlwind of emotions bubbling beneath her surface? The truth settled in. She needed to be clear, not just for Chase, but for herself. Staring at the blank screen, her thoughts spiraled back to their last conversation, the sweetness of his words lingering like a favorite song. Chase had a way of making her feel anchored, yet now, the thought of fully embracing that connection felt delicate, like glass. Emma carefully typed out her message, fingers flying across the screen before she pulled back, her breath hitching. She had to find the right words that wouldn't just invite Chase in but would also keep the door wide open for her own identity. Hey, it's Emma, she finally began, pausing to wipe a clammy palm on her jeans. I've been thinking about us a lot. A lump formed in her throat as she hesitated, then pressed on. I care about you, and I want to figure out how we fit together without losing what makes us who we are. Can we talk? Her heart raced as she hit send. There it was, her truth laid bare. All she could do was wait, her thoughts entangled in hopes and fears. Across town, Chase was sitting beside his best friend at a cafe, his phone buzzing insistently. The sun beat down, casting golden light over their table, but it was the brightness of Emma's name lighting up his screen that captured his full attention. Dude, you alright? Jake asked, noticing the way Chase's eyes widened. Chase read Emma's message, his heart pounding. It's Emma, she wants to talk. Like really talk. What were you waiting for? Respond. Jake urged, excitement dancing in his voice. But Chase hesitated. Something about the tone felt heavy yet promising, like the calm before a storm. They had been on a roller coaster ride since they started dating, and though he loved her fiercely, he could see the weight of her heart began to show through her cheerful facade. He replied quickly, yes. When and where? After hitting send, a wave of anxiety washed over him. He knew he wanted to be there for Emma, to support her burden and help her navigate the storm brewing inside her. But what if this conversation pulled them into deeper waters than either of them could handle? Back in her room, Emma watched the screen, waiting for his response to illuminate like a beacon. When the indicator showed he was typing, her stomach fluttered with a strange mixture of nerves and excitement. But as seconds ticked by into minutes, doubt crept in. Was this really what she wanted? Was she ready for a conversation about love and identity? Would Chase meet her fear with understanding? Then, her phone pinged a message. Emma read it, her heart racing. Let's meet at the park. I'll bring your favorite coffee. Emma felt a smile tug at her lips, but it was accompanied by a rush of anxiety. It was a step forward, but it was also a step into the unknown. Okay, she texted back, her heart fluttering. See you soon. The last words she typed echoed in her mind, let us figure this out together. Stepping outside, she felt a sudden swell of determination. Emma would meet him as her true self, and no matter what happened, she knew this was just the beginning. But what awaited her at the park? Would this conversation fracture or solidify their bond? The weight of possibility pressed down around her as she stepped into the world. Everything hung in the balance. Emma walked toward the park, feeling the warmth of the sun on her skin. The street was alive with laughter, dogs barking, and children playing, but she felt strangely distant from it all. Her heartbeat resonated in her ears, loud enough to drown out the world around her. Each step felt heavy, like she was wading through water, inching closer to the moment that could change everything. As she approached the entrance, she spotted Chase sitting on a weathered bench, his expression a blend of hope and concern. He had her favorite coffee cup in hand, a comforting sight that made her heart flutter, even as anxiety knotted her stomach. "Hey," she said softly as she approached, her voice barely above a whisper. She could see the relief wash over his face as he looked up at her. "Hey, Em," he replied, his voice warm and inviting. He stood to greet her, and they leaned into an embrace. The familiar smell of his cologne wrapped around her, igniting memories of laughter and shared secrets. "I'm glad you came." She hesitated a moment, unsure of how to break the silence that settled heavily between them. She took a seat beside him, wrapping her hands around the cup of coffee he offered. The warmth seeped into her skin, a small comfort amid her racing thoughts. "Thanks for bringing this," she said, trying to infuse lightness into the heavy air. "You know me too well." "Just trying to make this easier," he replied, a hint of uncertainty edging his tone. "I know things have been complicated." Emma nodded, leaning back as she took a sip. She could taste the sweetness of the caramel, but it did little to sweeten the moment. "Yeah, complicated is the right word." Chase's eyes searched hers, and for a moment, the world around them faded away. "I want to understand," he said softly. "I want to be there for you. But I need to know what you need." Taking a deep breath, she felt every word weigh on her tongue. The truth she had been grappling with was finally emerging. "Chase, I think it's time to be honest with myself and with you." He leaned forward, his brow furrowing. "What do you mean?" Emma's throat tightened as she gathered the courage to continue. "Lately, I've felt like I'm standing at a crossroads. I love you, and I want us to be together, but I don't want to lose who I am in the process. It's like trying to fit two puzzle pieces together that just don't match." Chase nodded slowly, processing her words. "You're scared," he said softly, as if finally understanding the depth of her struggle. "I am. I'm scared of losing you, and I'm scared that I'll end up losing myself, too." His expression softened, the concern transforming into something more resolute. "Emma, we both need to show up as our true selves. I don't want to lose you either, but I can't pretend nothing is going on inside you." Their eyes locked, and in that moment, it was as if the weight of the world fell away, leaving only the truth hanging heavily in the air. "Then what do we do?" she whispered, vulnerability pouring out of her. Chase's gaze was steady as he replied, "How about we start by sharing everything? Every fear, every dream, no more hiding." A wave of relief flooded Emma's chest, but it was intertwined with uncertainty. This wasn't just a talk, it felt like standing on the edge of an abyss. Was she ready to dive in? The park around them buzzed with life, but at that moment, it all felt surreal. Everything was on the precipice of change, and the weight of what they were about to delve into was profound. And then came the unexpected question that threatened to shake everything: what if part of who you are means we can't be together? Emma's heart dropped. Would their love withstand the weight of her truths? Was navigating this path worth the risk, or was her fear of losing them both too great? As doubt flooded her, a chill ran through her. The afternoon sun now felt fleeting, a reminder that time was slipping away. What if she had to choose between her world with Chase and her own identity? The uncertainty weighed heavily in her mind, but one thing was clear: this conversation had only just begun. Emma took another deep breath, ready to accept whatever was destined to unfold next. What truths lay ahead for them at that moment? Would they find the strength to embrace their fears together? Emma's breath caught as she processed Chase's question. His words buzzed in her mind, darting around like frantic fireflies. What if part of who you are means we can't be together? The laughter of children playing nearby felt like a distant echo, a stark contrast to the turmoil swirling inside her. She had been avoiding the big questions, but now, a stubborn knot in her stomach made the reality impossible to ignore. I don't know, Emma replied finally, her voice shaking slightly. It feels like every time I think I know what I want, it slips right through my fingers. Chase reached for her hand, intertwining his fingers with hers. The warmth felt like a lifeline in the uncertain waters she was navigating. You're not alone in this. You have me. His reassurance sent a wave of comfort through her, but it was quickly overshadowed by a rising tide of doubt. But what if I need to distance myself to find out who I really am, she admitted, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. What if I have to step back to figure it all out? Chase's expression shifted, pain flickering across his face. Emma, if that's what you need, then I want to support you. But damn, that scares me. He looked away, struggling to find the right words. I can't imagine life without you. His vulnerability resonated, stirring something deep within her. They could talk about hopes and dreams, but the underlying truth lay in the intuitive balance of love and self-discovery, an intricate dance she had yet to learn. I just don't want to hurt you, she confessed. The tears finally spilled over, and she wiped them angrily with the back of her hand. You've always been my safe place, but I feel like I'm losing sight of who I am. Maybe a little distance could help us both. Chase's brows knitted together, and he sighed. I don't want this conversation to turn into a goodbye, Em. It feels too final. She squeezed his hand, yearning to assure him it wasn't about endings. It's not goodbye. I just need some space to breathe, to think. You deserve to be with someone who is fully present with you. He shook his head slightly, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. But I don't want you to find yourself and realize that you don't want me anymore. That thought terrifies me. The panic in his voice tugged at her heart. Emma leaned closer, softly brushing her fingers along his cheek. Chase, if we can't figure this out together, then maybe we need this time apart to find clarity. I'm not saying I want to lose you. I just need to know who I am before I can decide what love looks like for me. He gazed at her, searching her eyes for the truth in her words. And in that moment, amidst the chaos of emotions, they both understood that love meant allowing space to grow, even if it was the hardest thing they had ever faced. Silence enveloped them, the world around them unspooling as they each confronted what lay ahead. Emma's heart thudded in her chest, a mix of anxiety and relief. Chase finally nodded, albeit reluctantly. I hate it, but I understand. Just remember. I'm still here, no matter what. Thank you, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Relief coursed through her, but uncertainty still loomed like a storm cloud overhead. As they sat on that bench, hands clasped but hearts hesitant, an unsettling thought crossed Emma's mind. What if this was just the beginning of a journey that would change everything about who they were, and who they could be together? With the sun beginning to set, casting long shadows over the park, Emma knew they were teetering at the brink of something monumental. But deep in her heart, she felt the weight of another question lingering, one that might redefine everything. Could love really survive if finding yourself meant letting go? As the warmth of dusk settled around them, Emma's heart pounded in anticipation. Whatever came next, she could sense it was only the start of a confrontation between her truth and their love. What revelations would emerge when her soul was finally laid bare? The following days passed in a blur for Emma. The momentary solace of the park had worn off, leaving her adrift in a sea of swirling thoughts. She kept replaying the conversation with Chase in her mind, each recollection squeezing her heart tighter. The vibrant colors of the world outside continued to flutter without her, a constant reminder that life went on while she was still figuring things out. The mornings felt hollow. She woke with the sun, but the brightness seemed too harsh, illuminating the cracks in her soul. As part of her routine, she'd take her coffee out onto the tiny balcony, listening to the sounds of life below. Yet, despite the laughter and chatter, she felt completely detached. Her connection to everything she once loved dimmed with each passing hour. Determined to make sense of the tumult she felt, Emma decided to seek help. With a slightly trembling hand, she dialed the number for a therapist her friend had recommended. Hearing the receptionist's warm voice on the other end pulled her out of her spiral, if only momentarily. She booked an appointment, the act feeling both liberating and terrifying. Maybe in those sessions, she could untangle the complex mess of emotions that threatened to consume her. On the day of her first session, Emma stood in front of the full-length mirror, studying her reflection. Was she the same person who had laughed and danced carefree just months before? The answer was no, but as she stared, she could see traces of that girl hidden beneath the self-doubt and fear. It gave her a flicker of hope. Walking into the therapist's office felt like stepping into a different world. The soft colors, comfortable furniture, and gentle music wrapped around her, creating a sense of safety. Emma took a deep breath and settled into the plush chair opposite the therapist, a woman named Sarah. Sarah's calm demeanor immediately set her at ease, but there was still a flicker of apprehension in her chest. As they spoke, something remarkable began to unfold. With each question Sarah posed, Emma felt layers of self-imposed limitations start to peel away. Conversations flowed about her childhood dreams, her aspirations, and the weighty expectations she placed upon herself. It felt almost miraculous, as though she was opening a box buried deep within her mind, discovering not only who she used to be, but who she could still become. I've spent so much time trying to be what others need, Emma realized, her voice thickening with emotion. I don't even know what I want anymore. I just feel lost. Sarah nodded, her expression genuine. It's okay to feel lost. That's where growth can start. Finding your own identity is the true north. That statement resonated with Emma. It wasn't just about her and Chase anymore, it was about reclaiming her essence. She thought about Chase's face, the way he looked at her, eyes flooded with fear. The realization hit hard. She wasn't just searching for herself, she was searching for the path back to him too. After the session wrapped, Emma walked back to her apartment, a mixture of hope and trepidation igniting inside her. Maybe this wasn't simply about stepping away, but about finding the strength to return stronger. As she crossed the threshold of her door, her phone buzzed. A text from Chase lit up the screen. Hey Em, I'm thinking about you. Let me know if you want to talk. The warmth spread through her chest, yet the uncertainty loomed again. What would she say? Would she dare to expose the raw truths she had yet to uncover? Emma hesitated, thumb hovering over the keyboard. And then a new thought emerged, one that filled her with courage. What if this is the moment? What if reconnecting with Chase could clarify everything? With her heart racing, she took a deep breath and began to type a reply. Every word weighed heavily on her mind, reverberating with the promise of a fresh start. Would he understand the journey she was on? Would he be willing to join her in this uncertain new chapter? As she pressed send, a wave of exhilaration washed over her. In that moment, Emma was neither lost nor found, but rather stepping forward into the unknown which glimmered with possibilities. Whatever lay ahead, she felt ready to face it. The question now loomed large, echoing in her heart: could they navigate the unknown together, or would this be the moment that pushed them further apart? Emma felt her heart flutter as she read Chase's text again. Hey Em, I'm thinking about you. Let me know if you want to talk. The words radiated warmth, a simple beacon of hope that flickered in the depths of her uncertainty. She had spent days contemplating how to approach their connection, and now, it felt like a chance, an opportunity to bridge the gap that had formed between them. Taking a deep breath, she typed back, I'd love to talk. Can we meet up tonight? The message felt like a leap of faith. With every keystroke, she reaffirmed her willingness to confront not just her relationship with Chase, but her own identity. Later that evening, as twilight settled in and cast a golden hue over the park, Emma arrived, heart racing with anticipation. She spotted Chase leaning against a tree, anxiety etched across his features, vulnerability emanating from him like a magnet. Their eyes locked, and in that instant, she saw the flickers of uncertainty he felt mirrored in her own heart. "Hey," she breathed, the world around them shrinking to just the two of them. "Hi," he replied, a soft smile breaking through his worries. As they settled onto a bench, Emma felt the weight of unspoken words crowd the space between them. "I got your message," she began, her voice gaining strength. "And I've been doing a lot of thinking." Chase leaned closer, his expression earnest. "About us?" "Yeah. I think it's important that I share some of what I've been feeling. The therapy sessions helped me see so many things about myself but also about our relationship," she said, her heart pounding. "Go on," he encouraged. "I realized that I've been so focused on being what I thought everyone expected of me, being the daughter, being the perfect girlfriend, that I lost sight of who I really am," she admitted, her eyes shining with honesty. Chase nodded, his gaze unwavering. "I get that. It's hard to dig deep into ourselves when we're so worried about how we come across to others. But I just want you to be you. The real you." The words melted the tension swirling in her chest, and she continued, "I need to figure out what me looks like without the weight of expectations. That doesn't mean I don't care about you, but I need space to grow, to find myself again." A flicker of pain crossed Chase's face, but he listened intently. "I understand, Em. But it scares me. What if you find yourself and decide you don't want me anymore?" "Maybe that's a possibility," she said softly. "But I want to find true happiness if I'm not being real with myself. And I can't ask you to wait indefinitely, either. I want to be honest. So if being apart helps us both figure things out, maybe that's what we need." Chase exhaled, still grappling with the thought. "I don't want to lose you, but I also don't want you to feel trapped. I love what we have, but I get it, too. It's important for you to explore." In that moment, they both understood. Love meant granting each other the freedom to grow, even if that journey led them away from each other for now. "Can we still be friends through this?" "I don't want you to feel like you can't reach out," Chase asked earnestly. "Absolutely," Emma said, relief washing over her. "We can support each other, even while we're figuring things out. I care about you so much, Chase. This isn't goodbye, it's a new chapter." As they spoke, a sense of clarity emerged, intertwining with the fear. In letting go, there was also a promise of healing. They shared their truths, feeling the burdens of expectations lift like a fog, making room for hope. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant hues of orange and purple, and Emma took a moment to breathe in the beauty around them. In that split second, she saw a future that was messy but undeniably hers, a path she felt ready to travel. "Thank you for understanding," she said, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I really believe we can navigate this and come out stronger on the other side." "Me too," Chase replied, a sense of relief washing over him. "Let us take this step by step. I'm here, no matter what happens next." As they both sat under the softening light, Emma felt her spirit lift. Navigating through this uncertainty no longer felt insurmountable, it felt like the first step toward rebuilding the pieces of herself she had once lost. The journey ahead was not without challenges, but each day would be an opportunity to grow, discover, and embrace the beautiful mess of what it meant to be truly alive. They were walking paths of self-discovery, yet still intertwined together, but as individuals. "It's just the beginning," Emma thought, a radiant smile lighting up her face. They were both ready to embrace life in all its complexity. As they shared a quiet laugh, the connection blossomed, and she knew deep down that love could withstand the test of time and distance, even when choices led them separately for a while. Emma's heart swelled with hope as she realized she would always carry Chase with her no matter where their paths took them. This was their moment, not an ending, but a new beginning now. It's your turn. If you were moved by this transformation, here's what you need to do: subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm. The love really counts. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. I want to hear how it resonated with you. And finally, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to spread the message. Your support is everything, and only true fans understand the importance of this community. Let us grow together.